Can I let them both be? This fickle faith and this college science that heckles from the back of the classroom? Now I can believe that the Bible and Quran and Bhagavad Gita are sliding long hairs behind my ear, like my mom used to, exhaling from their mouths. Make room for wonder. All my understanding dribbles down the chin onto the chest and is summarized as, life is merely to ovum and sperm and where those two meet and how often and how well and what dies there. She writes then of the central image of her poem, the poem's title, The Dissection of Fetal Pigs. The world too often dissects what should remain whole, slicing away soul and awe in the name of understanding. The irony is that Good's own death was dissected as well. Body cam frames frozen and debated, timelines sliced apart, her final moments reduced to angles and procedures. She wrote about the violence of dissection, and then that same violence was inflicted on her memory. And while I understand Renee Good's despair at the coldness of dissection of the fetal pig or of anything in life, I also understand that's how science must work, how understanding must work. First we have the awe and wonder, then we learn by dissecting whatever it is we're trying to understand. Hopefully then we do come to understanding, and maybe too we can come back to awe and wonder if we've lost it on the way. But understanding and meaning is what we are after as humans. We need to make things make sense. So this is why her own death was dissected as well. Body cam frames frozen and debated, timelines sliced apart, her final moments reduced to angles and procedures. By dissection, we come to understand, if not the why of it, hopefully at least the how of it. I want you, us, to choose to remember Renee Good's wholeness, the poet who chose to keep wonder alive, the mother, daughter, wife, writer, poet, entrepreneur, handy person, artist, shit guitar strummer, whose kindness and disposition lit up the lives of others, a woman who chose to stand with her community. Alex Preddy was a devoted ICU nurse caring for our most vulnerable. He was killed just 2 weeks after Renee Good, executed reaching to help someone who had fallen. He did musical theater in high school. He was known for his compassion, his dedication, for helping others, his love of his family, his friends, and his dog, and the outdoors. He lived his life with curiosity, gentleness, and quiet courage. His colleagues say he was known for his calm presence under pressure, his technical skill, and his insistence on treating every patient as a whole person rather than just a diagnosis. Preddy felt most at home under an open sky. He found meaning in forests and trails and long hikes and quiet passes, in the subtle act of paying attention to the natural world. His friends said, he didn't just walk through the woods, he listened to them. Amanda Gorman wrote a poem about Renee Good and one too for Alex Preddy. Here's Amanda's poem for Renee Good. They say she is no more, her absence roars, blown like a rose, iced wheels flinched and froze, now bear riot of candles, dark fury of flowers, pure howling of hymns. If for us she arose, then somewhere in the pitched deep of our grief crouches our power, and the how, where we begin, straining upon the crooked crater of the worst of what we've been. Change is only possible and all the greater when the labor and bitter anger of our neighbors is moved by the love in the better angels of our nature. What they call death and void, we know as breath and voice. In the end, gorgeously endures our enormity. You could believe the departed to be the dawn when the blank night has so long stood, but our bright fled angels will never be truly gone when they are forever so fiercely good. Amanda Gorman once again invokes the we in her poem about Renee Good, as she did in her famous inaugural poem. But then the collective we was in a hopeful time. But now, in our time of grief, fear, and outrage, Gorman brings us from hopelessness voiced in her opening line to triumph with her stress on the name good with a capital G as her final word of the poem. In this poem, Gorman uses we as all-inclusive, even of good's killers, the worst of what we've been, understanding that we, the people, must include all of us. From Amanda's poem, The Truths We Tell, she wrote, "It's said that ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is this, a vine that sneaks up a tree, killing not by poison, but by blocking out its light." From her poem, Hephaestus, "Pay attention. Having fallen in the era of error, we're re-raised among wreckage. What happened to us, we asked, a true inquiry, as if we're simply the affected, the recipient to which such rambling trauma was sent, as if we did not give the very cry to which our bows were bent. We labor equally when we fall as when we rise. Always remember what happened to us happened through us. We wonder how close we can come to light before we shut our eyes, how long we can stand the dark before we become more than our shadow. Pay attention. Concern is the debt we always owed each other. This is not allegory. Descend into ourselves like a fruit caught by its own branch. That clear plunge is the beginning of what we ought to become. Sometimes the fall just makes us more ourselves." And again from her poem, The Truths We Tell, "Sometimes we must call our monster out from under the bed to see that he, she, it carries our own face." This is Amanda Gorman's poem for Alex Preddy. "We wake with no words, just woe and wound. Our own country shooting us in the back is not just brutality, it's jarring betrayal, not enforcement but execution. Our greatest threat isn't the outsiders among us, but those among us who never look within. Fear not those without papers, but those without conscience. Know that to care intensely united is to carry both pain, dark horror for today, and a profound daring hope for tomorrow. We can feel we have nothing to give and still beloved this world, waiting, trembling to change. If we cannot find words, may we find the will. If we ever lose hope, may we never lose our humanity. The only undying thing is mercy, the courage to open ourselves like doors, hug our neighbor, and save one more bright, impossible life." We go through each day experiencing more and more trauma. Each day brings yet more horrific news about war, inflation, the erosion of voting rights, of other civil rights, of violence against protesters, of the disappearing of people without any due process, of mind-blowing, never-ending corruption and grift. Could you write a poem to spill out your pain, your anguish, your fear, your anger, your despair? This too, your hopes and dreams. We all aren't an Amanda Gorman or a Renee Good or a Rumi or a Mary Oliver, but there's a lesson out there in getting it all out on paper, of paying attention and making yourself notice and putting words to what you're noticing, of absorbing it, of condensing it all to language, coaxing that language into a rhythm like waves in a sea. Or not, or just letting it all pour out onto the page, all those pages, spewing it out, not trying to make it make sense, not trying to make the words settle into rhythm, just letting it be the messiness it is, not insisting on rhythm or rhyme or even reason, just to let it out, Like draining an infection, you will likely feel some relief. Maybe no rhythm or order will ever come to it, and that's okay. That's enough. Writing down trauma helps us to process and understand. It helps us to heal. It may lead us to take action, help us break a dam of paralysis. Write to yourself. Pen your broken, open heart. The Sufi poet Rumi wrote, "You have to keep breaking your heart until it opens." The broken, open heart is that transformative emotional state where pain and heartbreak do not shatter you, but rather expand your capacity for empathy, grace, and resilience. Let your writing bring you to a place where, instead of being closed off, you open to deeper vulnerability and connection. Instead of shattering from the grief we carry from what is happening in our world, let our hearts expand and hold yet deeper love and empathy. Remember Amanda Gorman's words, "We are our own ark, our own boat and book and story and poem, carrying ourselves from our own past to our own future, individually and collectively. Holding ourselves now in this present moment, and as our own boat, book, story, poem, may we now and forever carry our hope, our love, our humanity, our wonder and gentleness and curiosity and courage and kindness and compassion, our conscience and mercy and goodness for ourselves, each other, and our beloved world. We must believe beyond disaster. We must believe beyond despair. We must continue speaking, writing, hoping, living, loving, fighting, and care for our continually breaking open hearts. Amen, and blessed be.